Truth be told, I have been thinking about doing a video like this for a while now, and usually what that means is that I just need to get something out of my system. And what I've been thinking about is where life simulation games get it wrong when it comes to delivering on great video game experiences. Now, for those of you just discovering my channel, my name is Michael, and I want to welcome you to Sovereign Gaming in Life Sims, the YouTube channel where I build worlds, lots, and share my thoughts on video games in the life simulation gaming space. And as 2023 comes to a close, we are all ending the year with more life simulation gaming options than ever before. Well, kind of. We just know that they are in the pipeline to be made available to us either in 2024 or beyond. I, along with many of you, am certainly excited to see that life simulation players will have more options beyond EA actually having real competition in the life simulation gaming space. And as I have been a lifelong player of life simulation games, dating myself back to the Sims 1 days, I understand firsthand how influential and impactful generating hype is for the marketing of said games. And just because a video game has a strong marketing strategy to back itself with, it doesn't necessarily mean that the product will deliver on player expectations. And today, I want to talk about common patterns that I have noticed life simulation games have and how they impact the player's trust in gaming experience. In other words, welcome to my video essay, y'all. I hope you guys are ready for some rants and observations, I suppose, if I want to be fair to myself. And so the first concept that I want to discuss where life simulations get it wrong is the general marketing of their games. And before I get into that discussion, for purposes of this video, I'm really only going to reference the Sims franchises, Paralives, Inzoi, and Life by You. I understand that there are many video games out there beyond those franchises that cover, gaming experiences in the life simulation gaming space, but today I just wanted to hone in on those 4 franchises for this video. So I think that the very first thing that life simulation games get wrong when marketing their video games is that they market just to generate hype, and they don't actually answer a lot of questions from the community, which leads to their customer base to fill in the blanks, so to speak, with assumptions and observations. And so why marketing teams actually do this in the first place on a surface level is to generate engagement to increase their brand awareness. And there are many methods to increasing your brand awareness, which includes influencer marketing, social media marketing, pay-per-click ads, etc. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with marketing your product, but where I think life simulator gaming studios get it wrong is that they lose control over their community's discussion, which in turn can create false expectations surrounding a video game. So what continues to prove to be true over and over again with life simulation game communities is that a bunch of people will get really excited about an upcoming game, which of course, there's nothing wrong with enthusiasm and excitement, and so they start adding in their own ideas that they feel committed and connected to, and this eventually leads to disappointment when the developers confirm that a gameplay feature won't function as they have imagined it. And to be fair, the same can be said of myself as well. However, I've always tried to be careful to preface what I have to say, clarifying whether I'm making an assumption about something or if I'm just sharing an opinion. And at the end of the day, I'm willing to learn more and evolve what I think based on new information as it is presented. And so where I think that life simulation game developers get it wrong is that they aren't present enough in their own community discussions to help ground expectations before they kind of grow and get out of hand, since those online discussions can really catch fire and gain some traction. And even though I do have faith that a lot of life simulation gamers can discern the difference between a discussion thread and an announcement from the gaming developer, the reality is that the online discussions taking place for most life simulation games is rooted in imagination, excitement, and they are loved by algorithms of all kind when you have a very engaging conversation with people. And so that kind of creates those false expectations by, incorporating those algorithms to really allow conversations to catch fire. And you really don't have to look further than Reddit to see why. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with discussing your game. There's nothing wrong with sharing your observations or your assumptions or even things that you want to infer or anything of that sort. Again, I'm really not trying to harp on the community here because at the end of the day, it's just a video game and there's nothing wrong with discussing it. But sometimes discussions can get out of hand, and I think that gaming developers really need to have their hands in the pot just a little more when it comes to managing those conversations, because those conversations do eventually lead to expectations. And that's something that I think that developers can easily manage to help paint that more realistic picture of an experience for their product. I think that by not being more present in the community discussion is to the developer's own detriment, as it kind of allows players to exaggerate their expectations, leading to disappointment and likely to bad reviews to a problem that they could have nipped in the bud early on. After all, social media algorithms love nothing more than sensationalism, exaggerations, and highly emotional content that is likely to convert people from being browsers to users. And letting highly emotional discussions carry on without correcting the information within a timely manner, just for more engagement in the community, is a mistake that I think has explosive blowback. I mean, the chatter leading up to the Sims for Rent expansion pack is really all I need as a recent example to point back to when discussing how hype can create all kinds of expectations. Another thing that I think that life simulation games get wrong is world creation and world management in general. And by world creation, I mean giving players the basic tools needed to edit their own worlds. Now, before I get into that discussion, yes, I am indeed a world builder and a lot builder in these kind of games. And you don't have to look any further than my channel to see that world building and lot building is indeed my cup of tea. Do I think that makes me biased in pointing this out? Well, absolutely not, and this is why. No matter what kind of a life simulation player you are, a limitation to your gaming experience that doesn't get talked about enough is that you are limited by the world that you play in. In my opinion, no upcoming or former life simulator that I am referencing to in this video will be giving players basic world management tools. And what I consider the bare basic world building tools is a tool that can add or remove roads and a tool that can add custom lot sizes. I'm not even asking for the capabilities to adjust terrain or add props or even paint something a different color. I am purely speaking on bare basic world editing tools that would allow players to add or remove roads and to add custom lot sizes. If anything, Life by You and Paralives will fill half of those ask fors, as they are upcoming games that are said to allow players to add in a lot of any size, which is great. I'm glad to see that step in that direction. So that begs the question, why are bare basic world editing tools so crucial for everyday players? Like I mentioned before, life sim players are limited by the worlds that they play in. The Sims 4 is notorious for having neighborhoods with less lots than The Sims 1, which was the game created over 20 years ago, mind you, and it also has less gameplay mechanics than The Sims 3 and The Sims 2, if I'm going to be really petty about it. In fact, the Sims franchise in general has really struggled with world management as a gameplay feature in all of its entries. I am obviously going to forgive The Sims 1. However, I would say that The Sims 2 introduced world management as a hard-coded challenge for players as new expansion packs were introduced in the franchise. Where The Sims 2 gets away without having world management tools is that its entire franchise is composed of several loading screens. And in my opinion, The Sims 2 did indeed have the best world management tools out of all of the franchises with The Sims, but unless the player really wanted to control how a neighborhood looked and felt, they didn't need to manage their neighborhoods like they would in The Sims 3. And like I mentioned before, The Sims 2 only introduced players to the problem space if they were looking to actually manage their worlds. Now, if we take things to The Sims 3, in the open world concept of The Sims 3, players actually needed basic world management tools in order to enjoy the entire franchise's offering of content and DLC. Instead of giving players the capabilities to edit their worlds, unless going through the Create a World tool, EA kept having to build new worlds as they were introducing new expansion packs. And really the only time where EA retroactively tried to edit a world is when Late Night was released and they added in the bars, which looked terrible in Sunset Valley. In my opinion, EA could have increased the enjoyability of The Sims 3 as a franchise exponentially had they just anticipated that the franchise would offer expansion packs and offer players the basic ways to manage their worlds to incorporate all of that expansion packs content. I mean, players should be able to access an entire franchise's worth of content within one save without being forced to switch neighborhoods. Again, I'm only talking about adding in custom lot sizes and a tool to edit, delete, or add roads into the world. I'm not talking about adjusting the terrain or adjusting any of the terrain paints or any of that. I'm just talking about those bare basics, guys. And as far as I know, I can easily see this exact same problem popping up again in Life by You and with Inzoi. And in my opinion, these are obviously going to be games that will expand with DLC or expansion packs. I mean, the problem isn't old, y'all. The market to go beyond a base game in life simulation games is just too lucrative to deny for any game developer, in my opinion. And I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't impressed with Inzoi's world editing capabilities, as there is so much more that I can do to edit my worlds in The Sims 3 or The Sims 2. Again, both of those franchises are decades old. And with Life by You, they have really only mentioned creating custom lot sizes and rearranging lots, which is a start for an early access version, and I'm really hoping that they'll give us the capabilities to add or delete roads in the world, because that would make a really huge difference. Again, I'm just talking about bare basic world management tools here. World management wouldn't be an issue for players if developers did not plan to release any DLC or expansion packs, or if the developer retroactively expanded their own neighborhoods that they offer within their own games. Otherwise, in my opinion, players really get the short end of the stick by having certain gameplay experiences of the franchise cut off from them because they aren't playing in that particular neighborhood or world. I'm not asking for much, I'm just asking for a little bit of future-proofing so that a player can enjoy an entire franchise's worth of content that they paid for, mind you. Plus, by giving players the world management tool basics, it also takes pressure off of that gaming studio to build an entire world for every expansion pack that they release, unless they want to revert back to doing it in The Sims 2 style and just plugging in a loading screen every time that you want to access new content, which I think that the next successful life simulation franchise will have to offer an open world in some way, shape, or form in order to be competitive in the future. I'm honestly not asking for much, just a little bit of future-proofing so that a player can enjoy an entire franchise's worth of content that they paid for. Plus, by giving players the world management tool basics, it also takes pressure off of that existing gaming studio to build an entire world or neighborhood for every expansion pack that they release, unless they want to revert back to doing it in The Sims 2 style and just plugging in a loading screen every time that you want to access new content. And I think that the next successful life simulation franchise will actually offer an open world in order to be competitive. So I don't even think that that solution is something that gaming studios will want to offer in that case. But that's just me. And those are just really my thoughts on where I think life simulation video games get it wrong. And as noted in the title, I am dividing this up into two parts, and I will cover this genre's addiction to loading screens and more in the next part. But at this time, I kindly invite you to share your thoughts. Do you agree that life simulation communities are partially responsible for fanning the flames of fantasy, leading to disappointment for upcoming life simulation games? Or perhaps that it is ultimately the responsibility of the consumer to do their own research? Or perhaps, do you think that video game studios need to be more active with managing their communities, really getting into the trenches and communicating with us? Or maybe, is there like another pattern that you see with life simulation games that I have yet to mention or cover that you really want to discuss? I am open to making a community part to this video, like as like maybe a part 3. Who knows, but right now I've only got 2 parts planned. But yeah, if if there's a lot of discussion where you guys really want to voice your own opinions in the comment section below, I'm totally open to doing a third part, just kind of sharing your thoughts and doing a community edition on where you think life simulation games get it wrong. Anyways, feel free to drop your comment below with your thoughts. And until next time, I just want to thank you for watching, and if you'd like to see more videos like this one, then feel free to like this video and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thank you again for your time, and I hope you have yourself a wonderful day.